Good afternoon and welcome to SnapTech IT's monthly webinar for February 2026. My name is Ted Hulsey. I'm Chief Revenue Officer for SnapTech IT and your host for today's event. Thanks for joining in for the live session. This webinar will be recorded and circulated to all registrants, but you can always visit us on our YouTube channel to get all of our content on demand. Today's topic is Claude for business leaders, and I'm joined by SnapTech's marketing manager, Nathan Caldwell. Nathan, thanks for joining me for today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ted. I'm glad to be here. And if you want to share your deck, let's give people something to look at besides just our handsome faces as well.
Oh, okay. All right.
There we go. Oh, double up on our handsome faces. How about that?
All right. Well, thanks, Nathan, for the heads up on the logistics there. I'm now sharing my screen, and now you guys can see the slide. So welcome, everybody, to today's session. We're going to go through the agenda in one moment. One thing we like to do at the top of all these events is just make sure if anyone doesn't know who SnapTech is, let you know who we are. We are a cybersecurity first managed IT provider with operations in Atlanta, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona, and the San Francisco Bay Area. When clients come to us, they come to us with technology challenges, and our point of view is that technology should solve problems, not create them. But lots of organizations are struggling. They are losing sleep about their cybersecurity posture. They might have a fragmented technology stack and their employees aren't productive. Or they might be suffering from a provider who's just not responsive and providing high quality service to them. What we try to do with all of our clients is put in place our proven process. Our clients all have a technology plan, an IT roadmap, and an IT budget that gives them predictability in their business. And of course, we get to the root cause of any sort of technology or cybersecurity problem in their business, and we fix them. We put in place our best practices. We help secure their organizations. And when things break, things always break in technology, or when you need support or you need help, we provide fast and friendly IT support to users and organizations to help them get back to the task at hand, which is running your own business. And ultimately, our clients have peace of mind that they have a team of professionals that are helping them on their cybersecurity journey. Today's topic is, and then one other thing is just there are different engagement models. If you're a smaller organization and you don't have anybody who has IT on their badge, that's what we call managed IT. If you're a larger organization and you have an IT manager or an IT director or an IT team, we come alongside you and we help augment your resources, give you extra support, and put together a custom co-managed IT approach for larger organizations. Okay, let's look at today's agenda. Today we're going to be talking about AI. We like everybody in the economy, especially everybody in the tech world. AI is the hottest topic. We're living in a time of tremendous innovation, and it's really impacting all kinds of companies, all kinds of organizations, and how business is done. And our mission is to make it accessible and understandable, to be a source of education for our clients, to help guide organizations to how to maximize this technology, how to deploy it securely, and how to improve your businesses overall. Today, we're going to be talking about Claude from Anthropic. It's the first time we've talked about Claude on any of our webinar series. And just to set expectations, today is really a one-on-one session around Claude. Nathan and I could probably put together a 5 or 6 hour seminar on this. Really, there's so much to talk about with Claude. Claude is making huge news because it's a very powerful solution, as we're going to show you, but also some of the amazing things you can do when you leverage it in agentic type deployments, where you're using an agent that is semi-autonomous doing tasks on your behalf. There's also a very large number of the software developers in the world that swear by this product and use it every day to build software. That's not our target market, really. Our target market is C-level executives and leaders inside of small and medium business organizations. So we're going to really tailor today's conversation to the use cases that we see CFOs, chief marketing officers, head of sales, accounting people, people who are leaders in your business, how to help them be more productive with AI. And we're going to look at specifically at Claude. And it's going to be very demo intensive. So Nathan and I are going to actually get into our machines and show you some of these examples real time. I want to encourage you to ask questions. Nathan and I can kind of bounce in and out of the Q&A log as the other guy is presenting. And so if you have questions, I think it's always great to get them on the table while we're talking about a specific topic and try to address them on the fly. So make this interactive and ask your questions. Okay, so what are we going to look at? We're going to look at how is Claude priced and packaged. Nathan's going to get into the product, show you what it can do, show you some of the powerful capabilities in the product, some of the unique things about the layout and the UI of the product. And he's going to show you how to do kind of low code coding exercises to actually use an AI tool to create a whole host of different sort of artifacts, as Anthropic calls them, which are actual outputs of the AI beyond just words and text. And then I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to talk about connectors, which is how do you connect Claude to all the other software tools you already use. Specifically, we're going to look at Microsoft 365 and the Microsoft 365 platform. We've done a lot of programming on our webinars and in our workshops and lunch and learns around Copilot for Microsoft 365. And Claude is definitely a very compelling alternative. If you have Microsoft 365, you want the power of AI in your platform, this is a pretty compelling alternative to Copilot as well. And then we're going to also look at how projects work, and I'm going to do kind of a mini deep dive on Excel, on how Claude works inside of Excel, because I think I'll just say it right now. I personally believe that Anthropic has done a better job baking in an AI capability into Excel than Microsoft has with Copilot. So I hope to show some real life examples.
Bold claims.
Well, I'm going to show it. Hopefully the demo gods cooperate. But with that, Nathan, let me turn it over to you. I think the first thing you wanted to talk about was the kind of the overall price and packaging model, and then we're going to get into some demos, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the first thing to clear up is just how do you get engaged with Claude? Where do you start? And so there is a free version, and you can see the use cases there: light, personal use. There's a pro version, a max version for power users. Where we're going to be sitting today is on the team version. That's what Ted and I both have access to. And so if you're curious, like, hey, I saw the demo you did, I'm very interested in doing a similar thing, we're operating out of the team version, just so you know. And then there's also the enterprise, and that's custom. So really, you can see the different features. Obviously, as it goes up in price, you get more features. But what we're going to show you is that there's plenty to be done, even at just $25 per user per month. And so, and a quick little added note, if you stay on that pricing PowerPoint slide, this PowerPoint slide was created by Claude. I asked Claude to please create for me a PowerPoint slide based on the pricing. And look, it even pulled in pricing as of February 2026. It did all the research for me. It pulled it together. It made it into this nice slide. And I just want to highlight too, this was not an image that it created for me to put onto a PowerPoint slide. It is a fully editable PowerPoint slide. All of the text are separate little text boxes, all of the images. And so I was able to even highlight it all and change the font easily to our font. So just a little quick thing about Claude right there. And so Ted, if you don't mind giving me share access, then I'm going to share my screen and take people into the tour of what we're looking at.
Let's see, I'm going to make you presenter, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right, so here we go. Now you should be seeing Claude right now. Is that what you're seeing yet?
Now we can.
Yep. Perfect. All right, it just took a second to catch up to me. All right, thanks so much. So what you're looking at, and you probably already think, oh, that looks a little bit familiar, like it's not too far away from ChatGPT, where you go into the actual chat and just ask for something. but I want to highlight the menu down the left-hand side is a little bit different. And so if you take a look here, what we have is you can create a new chat, that's fine. You can search through your chats or whatever you've been creating. You can find past conversations by keywords here. Then you can also go into chats and you can see a history of your conversations that you've had with Claude. Then you can also go into projects, and these are organized workspaces with shared memory. And so that's where, because Ted and I are on a team together, that's where we can likely go to see what one another are working on. The next thing I want to highlight, and this is specific to us, it pops up and it says, ask SnapTech IT. Now, if you got Claude, you wouldn't have that. This is actually a branded AI agent that was built for our business, for SnapTech IT. And so it's great to go in there, and Claude is going to have access to a bunch of stuff about SnapTech IT, so we can ask any questions of SnapTech IT and have it spit out some answers for us or some work for us. The next thing I want to show you is this little button here. It's called Artifacts. We're going to go into that in a moment, so I won't say much more except that this creates visual and interactive outputs, and you get to use chat to create it, but I'll show you what that looks like in a moment when I show you how it can create an app or a website very easily. And there's a whole bunch of other types of artifacts as well you could do. And then last but not least, and something that Claude is famous for, is coding. And so this is live code execution, and it brings about real results. So just a quick orientation, giving you a tour of the types of buttons that are available there. And I want to jump right in though and show you a demo just of how the chat can work to create something that's even a little bit more powerful than using ChatGPT. And what I mean by that is this. I've used ChatGPT a lot. I love it. It's great. It's powerful. It does a lot of great things for me. However, oftentimes when I ask ChatGPT to create something for me, it spits out something in the form of just plain text that you can copy and paste into a Word doc or things like that. Where Claude just goes above and beyond, like a fine dining experience, is in the visual interpretation and production of what you ask it to do. And so I pulled in a prompt, and I'll show you this prompt. I'm going to go ahead and ask Claude to help me. And so I just copied in this prompt where I'm asking Claude to create a training program on AI tools for me. And I gave it a bit of a background. Here are some of my licenses and tools that I have: HubSpot, Copilot, ChatGPT, ZoomInfo, all of these listed. And then I told Claude, here are some of the tasks or focuses that I have in my job, in my role: writing weekly blogs, doing webinars multiple times a month, improving engaged contacts in HubSpot, email marketing, several tasks that I focus on, or key areas I focus on. And then I asked it, create a training plan for me to boost my AI skills and become more productive in those tools I have with the tasks I need to accomplish. I want the instructions to be for 3 AI training exercises a week that can be accomplished in 30-minute sessions. Now, I know I'm giving you a lot of details on my prompt, but my point is I'm giving it a specific thing that I want it to create. And don't we go into these AI models with that in mind? Like, we know what we want it to do, but just sometimes the output isn't quite there. With Claude, I feel like, man, it gets us so far down the path of giving us great output. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start on that. And I just want you to see how it begins working. And we won't wait around all day for it, but it is going to be thinking. It can notify you when it completes. You can see that it starts to do scripting and different work. And so I've already done this before though, and you can see it starts like doing some coding to make it look nice and everything too. Borders, headings, all that sort of stuff. Let me show you what it did just the other day for me though, so we don't have to wait around for it to fully bake. You know, it's like a cooking show where they flash forward and be like, the brownies are ready. And here's
Well,
what it came up with. Oh,
I think
Ted, go for it.
just it bears commenting. Like one of the things you notice when you're using Claude is that it actually takes for a lot of different prompts and a lot of things you're trying to do, it actually takes a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to have the same experience later when I do some of the demos for Excel, and that's not a bad thing. When you
No.
see what you gets created, yeah, you may need to wait 6 or 7 minutes for it to crank out a spreadsheet for you, but it would have probably taken you an hour and a half to build that spreadsheet if you were doing it by hand. So 6 minutes
Yeah.
versus an hour and a half, not a big deal. And the other cool thing is that Claude there's kind of a design ethic where they kind of show their work. It's not black box. It's telling you, hey, I'm going to consult, grab this document from SharePoint, and I'm now reading this PDF. It looks like it's an image, so now I need to do optical character recognition on the image. So it kind of explains what it's doing, which is actually very helpful, because when it goes off the rails or something doesn't work, you can kind of figure out how to get it back on the rails. Or if it creates something that you're not intending, you can give it better prompting to get it back on. So this kind of show your work thing is kind of a cool design element of Claude. So, but let me let you keep going now.
Oh, thanks, Ted. I appreciate you jumping in. So this is what it created for me the other day. And really, like I said, having that result from ChatGPT would have been just text, like black and white text. I would have had to copy and paste into Word and then format and all that sort of stuff. But look at how beautiful this is. Like I could go and get this printed off and actually be an instructor at the front of the room and be like, hey, everybody, here's your handout for our AI exercises today. Like it's already really, really nice, and it did what I wanted it to do. The cool thing too is if I needed changes, I could just go back into the reply and in plain language request the changes that I needed, and it will interpret that and go back through, change the code, change the formatting, and re-edit it so that it gets me exactly what I need from there. So Ted, any other questions or thoughts on this product of
No.
what it puts out?
No.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into another area of Claude, which is over here in the artifacts. And so I already have it populated because, like Ted said, it does take several minutes for this to run and operate. And so I don't want to use up our time on this webinar looking at that, but I will highlight some key points that you do need to be thinking of on how to get this to work for you. And so what I did was came in, I selected apps and websites. You can see that in the artifacts, it's telling us, let's get cooking. You can pick anything. It can be documents or templates, games, productivity tools, creative projects, create a quiz or a survey, or start from scratch. And you can see I selected apps and websites. Then it prompted me a little bit more. It asked me some questions, and give me a moment as I scroll. It jumped ahead. There we go. Now it's going to let me scroll. So here were my instructions. Create an interactive, choose your own adventure style website where business owners are given questions to create their ideal IT services plan. And so it'd be, questions about company size, the number of computers you have, those sorts of things. And so it came back with some structure for me. I told it to write out all of the questions for me to review and so I can give feedback. So it wrote them out in text before it created anything. I gave it some tips to make some following changes on some of these questions. Then it put it back out to me as plain text of those questions. And then I added some more questions. And so you can see how I'm working with it to get to a better product before they create it. And then I got happy with what they put. And so I said, build the site. Now, Ted, I gave a brief overview of what I put in there. Did I do any coding?
No, no. I mean,
No,
the
not
reality,
at
the
all.
reality is this is, in my 20 years of being a marketer in the tech world, we used to spend, I think at one point we built like one of these like online interactive calculators. We once spent like $10,000 or something having it built like 15 or 20 years ago, right? So, building interactive web apps for marketing purposes as a lead generation tool and that sort of thing. Yeah, I've cut that check before, and you're showing how you got it done in 15 minutes. But continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just asked it too. Okay, it built a version of it to start, and I said, how can I provide feedback or edits? And so it just said, great question. Look at what it did. It just gives me plain language that it's going to respond from, and it's going to make those changes. So I put in one right away. The sliding scale for organization is missing. And so they said, you're absolutely right. So let's just show you what this ends up looking like. And so let's hit get started. All right, now if you check less than 10 people, I actually told it to say thanks, but no thanks if you're less than 10 people. But look at the sliding scale, update it to the number of employees you want, hit next. Asking a question, how do you currently handle IT? Well, we rely on external provider, let's say the customer. These are boxes, so you can select as many as you want. I even asked that of Claude. I said, why are some circles and why are some squares when you check it? And they said the user experience is circle means select one, square means select as many as apply. And so I'm like, okay, well, let's stay with tradition then. All right, so we go through this, and I'm gonna click through because you can see how interactive this is and how nice it is, because I wanna get to the end where I show you some additional power that I put into this and what it was able to do for us. So we're getting down to the end of all of these questions, and then it builds out your personalized IT services plan. At the bottom of it, it says ready to get started. Let's discuss how we can implement it. Enter your email address. Now that's great. We want people to enter their email address, but at SnapTech IT, the way it works with us is we have a site to book time with a SnapTech IT expert, and that location requires you to put in your email address there too. And so I didn't want to have to duplicate the effort. So I even asked it to copy my email address when I put it in here and autofill it on the SnapTech IT page. And I gave the link to the page. So watch what happens here. I'm going to put in my personal email address. And then I'm going to book a meeting with SnapTech IT. Of course, I have to open an external link because this isn't actually on our website. But I open that link and it takes me to the schedule a meeting page, and look what it did. It did pull my email address in there, so I don't have to duplicate it. And so anyway, I find that amazing because I'm a big fan of less clicks, better experience for the end user. And the cool thing about it, going back to Claude and what's going on here, is then you can either copy it or look, you can download as HTML so that you can get this whole thing published on your website. And so, Ted, any thoughts or comments here on what's going on with this vibe coding or low code coding? I'm just using regular everyday speak to say, I want something different. Do this for me. And it's following up with creating just an amazing product that's usable right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's almost like it's almost so too good to be true. I think I would encourage everybody to get in there and get an account started and play around and build these sorts of things, because we picked this particular example. Nathan spends a lot of time thinking about how to get prospective clients to engage with us on a conversation around their IT. And so his mind immediately went to, hey, like maybe I could put together an interactive pricing calculator for our website that could help educate. But in your business, you probably have all the different ways that your prospective clients or customers want to find you, or the burning questions that they have. But so just use your imagination of all the different things. This here particular example is building a mini web application that you can then just drop into a website and provide an interactive educational experience to a prospective client, and then quickly integrate it with your own existing workflows if you have a CRM tool of some kind. I mean, that's fantastic for a marketer, but you may have a whole, that may not be your bag, right, in your organization. And so, but think about the examples that you might have in your organization. But I think it's really compelling how this, with just a couple interactive sessions here, like a single interactive session with 10 or 12 prompts, you were able to, in less than a half hour, create this thing, which is just super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will make one comment though. I went, after it was all complete, I went back and I said, you know what? I think it would be real fun if instead of just this, there was a bar at the top as you completed this. So let me refresh and I'll show you. See how there's this bar that gives you an indicator of how far along you are. See it filled up. I wanted to also have like an animation going on of like a computer being built with different parts coming into it. And it did not accomplish that. It came back very abstract and brutal and just didn't do the job. So I said, can it, forget it, get rid of that. Let's go back to just text and that little blue bar. So anyway, so we want to be honest about like what it's able to do and all that sort of stuff, but this is really still very powerful.
Right on.
All right, so Ted, I'm gonna stop sharing. Actually, the last thing, I had talked about how good it is at creating PowerPoint, and so I just wanted to show you. I told it create a graphic that can fit onto one PowerPoint slide that summarizes Claude's pricing structure. We want to know the difference between plans and then make it clear, simple to understand. So they did that, and then they did it as a PowerPoint slide, and I was able to pull that in. And like I said, every single piece of this was editable, which is very different from many other AI products that are just creating an image, a flat image where you can't maneuver anything, but it's just in the right size for PowerPoint. So super big power here, super helpful. It will save you tons and tons and tons of time if you are ever creating PowerPoint slides. So
yeah, and one of the things we wanted to show in this demo, in today's demo, was how Claude works inside of PowerPoint. And they're advertising it all over the place that it's available, but when we went in to activate it and start using it, it's actually in beta and not available yet. So you know, if you've ever attended any of our prior sessions, we're big fans of how Copilot works inside of Microsoft PowerPoint. It's pretty darn amazing. You can just have you can have Copilot create a PowerPoint for you from scratch. And nobody in the market, Gamma, which is a company that's trying to compete with Microsoft, Gemini from Google, nobody has historically been able to hold a candle to Microsoft in this area, but we think Claude is coming for them in this regard. And so we're excited because it's just yet another option. But what Nathan was able to demonstrate here is for a single slide creation, just go into the standard prompt and ask it to create a single slide for you. But very soon we'll be able to actually plug Claude into PowerPoint and use it from, you know, for more robust executions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I just wanted to show that it's a big deal and save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, and actually produce some pretty slick slides. So I really liked it. Right.
Yeah,
so
I mean, Rod asked the question, you know,
just
you know, what is the code stack created for the website and where will it be hosted? I I don't think we actually took the step of going and posting it to our WordPress site and actually publishing it, but
Correct.
it
Correct.
basically, what Claude does for coding exercises is it gives you like the executable code you need to go um, deploy somewhere. And HTML is pretty simple. You just need a website to go actually paste that code in and actually host it somewhere. So admittedly, like we haven't been using Claude for months and months, and we're bringing, as users in the sales and marketing arena in a small business ourselves, we're bringing these use cases, but we haven't like gone and built the websites that we're showing off here. We're showing some capabilities that maybe we haven't fully executed to the full end, but that's just we're just being totally transparent about where we are with our execution and use of this tool. So but I think, Rod, hopefully that's helpful. You can export the HTML and go host it on any traditional hosting platform or website platform. Okay, Nathan, is it time to change gears?
Time to change gears. Over to you, Sir Ted.
Okay.
And I got, I gave you the access as presenter.
Okay, it is, and you can see my screen, okay?
Yeah, happy Thursday, Ted Halsey.
All right, great. Okay, so what I'm going to show in the next couple minutes is I'm going to show connectors, and I'm going to show integration with Microsoft, and I'm going to show a use case with Excel. So Nathan, keep an eye on the Q&A tab. So
I got it.
All right, so we Nathan went from giving you a kind of a high level tour of the Claude UI from the web browser, and then kind of jumped into a couple pretty advanced executions. Day to day, how many of us are using AI tools is we already have a whole host of different software platforms that we're running our businesses on. And on our webinars and in our business and working with clients, I mean, we're big fans of what Microsoft has done with Copilot, because Microsoft has something like 75% share of the cloud productivity platform market. Google has the other 25%. And it makes a heck of a lot of sense to have an AI tool running inside of the tools you already use, like Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, etc. But they have competition, right? It's a time of tremendous innovation. And with AI tools, one of the amazing things is some of the things Nathan just showed, but one of the frustrating things is for kind of routine tasks, you find yourself having to copy and paste and toggle back and forth between a web browser where you have the output of your prompt and the actual kind of deliverable you're trying to create, whether it's a document or an email or a memo or whatever it is. And so that's kind of one of the rough spots. And so when you look at ChatGPT, for example, that's kind of a disadvantage. Like, they don't have this app that everybody already uses. They have to kind of win their market share and share of mind a day at a time with every user. But so one of the things ChatGPT and one of the things Claude both are very focused on is connectors. Is how do you take this tool and connect it to the existing software apps you already have? So let me show that to you. So I'm here in the Claude UI. I've exploded out the left menu, and then what you do is you go down here to configure, and you go to settings, and then in settings you go to connectors. And what you see I've already done is I've already connected our Microsoft 365 Claude to Microsoft 365. We've connected it to our HubSpot. We've connected it to Granola, which is a meeting recording and note-taking application I'm experimenting with. And Nathan and I spent a lot of time with ZoomInfo, which is a B2B data platform. So I've already gone ahead and connected our Claude instance to these 4 apps. And I'm just going to go in here to this browse connectors, and just to show you how robust this is. So I think that the default ordering they have here is kind of the most relevant sets of apps that are out there. So a lot of people are huge fans of Notion as a internal collaboration, note-taking, and productivity tool. We're big fans of Canva. We use Canva in our organization in the marketing side. But you see, some of these are some of the big names. Asana. A lot of people use Asana or Monday for project management and internal collaboration. You see that you can connect it to Box if you like Box instead of Dropbox or Ignite or ShareFile. If Box is your cloud file repository or cloud file system. So anyway, but the list really goes on and on and on. There's like dozens and hundreds of apps in here. And what we've done is we've gone ahead and configured, connected these various apps to our Claude instance. And let me just show you some very basic things you can then do. So I have a spreadsheet open to me off screen, stage right, if you will, and I've got my prompts over here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and just show some very basic things to show you how this works. So, one of the things that's cool about Copilot in the Microsoft stack is when you say ask Copilot to create an email for you, it's going to leverage all the email in your inbox. It's going to look at all the content in your meetings and your inbox, and it's going to craft the email based upon either the email thread you're responding to, or potentially the overall context. Claude can do the same thing. So I've got Claude connected to my email, and I'm just going to ask a fairly innocuous question here, and it's going to leverage the context that it already has by being connected to my inbox. And so the prompt I'm going to give it is craft an email to Nathan Caldwell asking for an update on the status of our virtual AI workshop initiative. And so I'm going to click submit, and let's see what it comes up with. And so, just virtual AI workshop status update. Hey, Nathan, where do we stand on the virtual AI workshop initiative with our February 26th session coming up fast? I want to make sure we're on track. Specifically, what's the registration and attendee count? Content and materials finalized or still in progress? Any blockers I should know about? And when I click here, it's going to go ahead and it would go ahead and open Outlook for the web, or I could just copy it and then go and paste it into my email client and be off to the races. So the important point here is that it has context. It knows the date of the event because it sees the rest of my email. And so now, admittedly, this is like when I ask normally day to day, if I want a quick update from Nathan on the topic of this, I just send him a Teams message and we chat back and forth. But you can think about it. I have to, when I'm doing these demos, I always have to make sure I'm obscuring any truly private or client information in these environments. So sometimes the demo exercise we do is a little bit not terribly realistic. But in any event, I ask Nathan all the time for updates on things, either via email or Teams, and this would be a very quick and relevant email to him where I don't even need to think. I just like put in the prompt, bang, copy, paste, go, and I'm off to the races. Now, let me just show another example. One of the things that all the AI companies are really trying to master is there's kind of this pent-up demand. We're all drowning in so much communications. We have so many meetings. We have so many obligations. We kind of all suffer from information overload. There is an overall idea that almost everybody who's a knowledge worker needs a kind of a daily digest. Like, give me my day. Give me a rundown of my day. What's my important meeting? Help me with preparation notes for those important meetings and that sort of thing. I'm not going to try to demo that, but I'm just going to show you again how Claude is connected to my calendar. It's just in a very simple use case. And so a part of giving you a daily digest is you could just ask it, hey, like, give me my calendar for tomorrow. Like, give me a quick rundown of it. Now you're asking, like, why don't you just toggle over to your calendar and look at it? You can, but the reality is what I'm trying to do is kind of a forcing function here to just show you that it has access to my calendar and can give me this information. And then, the way you take it to another level is, okay, give me my calendar and give me preparation notes for each one of those meetings, for example. But I'm just going to keep it real simple here. And I'm just going to paste in this prompt that says, please give me a rundown of my calendar for Thursday, February 19th. I'm on Pacific time zone. And I put in the Pacific time zone thing there because it does get confused about what time zone I'm in, even though like the Microsoft platform doesn't really, this is kind of interesting. What? You know what? I wonder, I think it actually got confused about what year. I'm going to change this prompt. And I think I think it got confused about what year and maybe actually gave me something from 2025 because that is not what's happening today. So, and if this doesn't work, I was testing this yesterday, so it should work. So let's see if I give it the proper year. So you see, it's showing its work. It's looking at okay, so here we go. This is accurate now. So it sees my whole calendar, so it can go get something from last year. But this is the rest of my day. So hold the SnapTech IT webinar. I've got a client meeting at 12:30 Pacific. I've got another prospect meeting coming up. And I've got a sales check-in call. I've got my role play training call with my account executives. Anyway, so it basically pulls up, and then there's stuff on my private calendar, like my son does his golf practice up at the golf course at Tilden Park in the late afternoon, and we go pick him up at 5:15. I'm going to get my haircut done at 4:45. So this is the real deal. Like if I just toggle over to Outlook and just show you my calendar, just so you know, I'm not making this up. Like here is my daily calendar, and Claude is able to read it and go retrieve it. So that's
yeah,
kind
I
of
was
cool.
starting to worry about you, Ted, how you were gonna like habit stack between your haircut and being on the golf course. If like you have a caddy / barber that goes along with you, and like
No,
while you're in the cart, he's
no, we
trimming
just
your
have
hair.
we have a teenage boy, and he's got a very busy life outside of class, and all of his stuff is also on my calendar. So
No,
his German,
let us imagine that you have some Dr. Seuss type contraption to cut your hair while you're
no,
golfing.
I'm just
Please.
getting my hair cut and then going to pick up my son. That's it. All right, so let's do another test. So another thing you want to do, so when you connect, one of the most common things you want to do with an AI tool is connect it to your file system. And many organizations use OneDrive and SharePoint. That's included with the Microsoft 365 platform. And as I showed earlier with the connectors box, you can connect it to different file collaboration platforms. But let me just show you, over in my file system is, we use Ignite, and we use OneDrive and SharePoint quite a bit. But over here is the my my OneDrive files. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to query Claude to go find certain folders. And like here's my Copilot demo folder, and I've got the Copilot workshop. And you see in this Copilot workshop folder, you've got a couple folders, demo practice, a couple files. And I'm just going to go back over. So I'm showing you that. Now I'm going to go back over to Claude, and I'm going to just ask it. I'm going to say to Claude, Claude, on my OneDrive, what are the contents of my Copilot workshop folder? And so I just showed you the contents of them in my file directory. And now I'm just going to, and so it's showing its work. It says, we told it OneDrive and SharePoint, that's where to go look. And now Claude is going to go find that folder. And as you just remember, I showed you there were 4 folders: demo practice, enablement for other leaders, exercise, Outlook tests, and then these files. So it can see the files and folders that are in my Microsoft 365 platform. Now, a more common use case is you're going to be using your AI tool to create content. And one of the things that's really, like, this is a cool thing in Copilot is you can be, for example, you could be in Word in Copilot, or in Microsoft Word with Copilot running, and you can say to Copilot in Word, hey, go create this blog post, but use this particular file that's in my OneDrive or in my SharePoint. And that's like pretty cool, right? I mean, that's from a workflow and productivity and efficiency perspective. That's what you want, is these two tools to be deeply integrated together. And I'm just going to show you really quick how Claude has the similar sort of capability. But here I've copied a prompt from the spreadsheet over here on stage right, and I'm going to say write a 500. Actually, this should be a 500 word blog post based upon our webinar transcript from January 2025. Called Copilot Readiness Webinar. The transcript is in the January webinar folder on OneDrive. And so just to kind of show this real quick, I think I remember where this is. So in this Copilot demo folder, I've got the January webinar folder. And in the January webinar folder, I have this transcript. And so one of the things Nathan and I do, we do several webinars a month. We always record them. We always put them on YouTube. We always take the recording of the webinar and we turn it into a transcript. And then we do other things with the transcripts. One of which is we write a blog. And we've, for the better part of 14, 15 months, we've been leveraging AI to help us do a lot of our writing. But we want the blogs to be very much in our own voice. You want it to really be based upon our real content, our real point of view. And that's the art, in my opinion, of AI, is you leverage the tool to make yourself more efficient, to do a lot of the busy work or the hard, labor-intensive work, but you still keep your point of view. You still keep your unique perspective on the world and your own intellectual property. That's really the art of using AI, in my view. And here we have the recording. It's a 37-page or 39-page transcript of this webinar, and it's sitting over here in my OneDrive. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Claude to write something based upon that transcript of that webinar. And so I'm going to just say to Claude, hey, write this blog. And I see a little typo on blog, but it's smart enough to know what I'm talking about there. And so again, it kind of, just like Nathan showed before, it's going to show its work. And I think this is one we can kind of let it run because it's not, it doesn't take too long. Okay, let's see here. Come on. All right, and so then and then
right while it's running, let me ask you a question from the Q&A. Sure. Because you're going into our folders, our files, do you have privacy concerns about Claude having access to your folders and files?
So a great question. Data privacy, data governance, cybersecurity, those problems don't go away in an AI world. You just have to be mindful of them. But whether you're using Copilot with Microsoft, or you're using ChatGPT for Business with Microsoft, or any of your apps, or you're using Claude with Microsoft, when you're paying for the commercial versions of these products, your content in your organization, your emails, your calendar invites, your chat messages in Teams, your files and folders in OneDrive, none of that content gets added to the large language model. Your data stays private. It's so-called grounded content. So the main takeaway is you need to make sure that you're using the commercial versions of these products. You got to make sure you have an IT team or an IT service provider working with you that's helping you with the guardrails and the cybersecurity concerns and data privacy concerns to make sure that you're executing these tools in a grounded sort of way, meaning that your content stays private. And most of the business, all of the business solutions, by default, your content is grounded, meaning my transcript from my webinar doesn't go into the large language model without my permission. And so Claude is talking to my Microsoft 365 environment, but it's doing it with my permission. And so, Nathan, hopefully that answers that one. But what you see is that Claude was able to go look in my OneDrive, find the name of that transcript file, and then craft the blog, and then it produces this 500-word blog. So pretty darn cool. I'm kind of
look at this, art mimicking real life. Down there, it's got a paragraph: lock down your data governance first.
Huh. Yeah, right. So yeah, so this webinar was actually about things to think about before you go deploy Microsoft Copilot. And and this is actually answering your question, sir, who asked that, the gentleman who asked that. Your data stays yours. Yeah. And but you have to lock things. I mean, you have to be mindful of the security capabilities of these tools and the data privacy capabilities of these tools. Okay, I'm staring at the clock and a little nervous that we're running out of time. So I want to go kind of quick here on a couple more examples. So one thing is just I want to show projects. In Microsoft Copilot, projects are called notebooks. In Google Gemini, they're called gems. In ChatGPT, they're called projects. And in Claude, they're called projects. And the whole point of projects is that one of the biggest challenges we all have with an AI tool is you want to constrain the context that the tool uses to get a high quality output. And that means you don't want the AI tool incorporating the entire world into the prompt response. You often want to give it a narrow set of documents, just like I just showed on that blog. I said, look, I only want you to write the blog based upon that one Microsoft Word transcript. And in similar way, when you're working on a project, you often will have different pieces of content that you want to feed into the tool, and you want to narrow the context. And this is, again, this is not a work use case. This is a personal work use case. We already mentioned my teenage son. He's taking an AP World History class. It's a very challenging class. I was a history major in college. I've been helping him. And one of the things I do is I use AI to create quizzes, and we sit down and do quizzes when he has tests coming up and that sort of thing. But one of the things I started running into was I was using AI tools and trying to have the AI create quizzes and referencing the edition of the textbook that his class has. And the problem is this particular 900-page textbook has like 7 different editions. And every edition, the chapters are in different, they've kind of reordered the chapters. And so I would always get back a quiz that was inaccurate. It was just not giving me what I needed. If I wanted the quiz about chapter 6, and that was supposed to be about the Mongols, it would give me something different. And so what I did is I've gone through and I've scanned all of the chapters of the book, and then so what I've been doing with ChatGPT or other tools and Claude is you can drop in specifically only the actual items you need, and constrain your prompting. And so in this case, I'm just going to say, give me a 30. Let me drop in my prompt and I'll read it to you. So create a 30-question multiple choice exam based on chapters 12 and 13 and provide me the questions and answers as separate artifacts. So I've already done this test a couple times. One of the things that Claude, for some reason, in this sort of use case can't do is it can't spit back a Microsoft Word document to me, which is kind of weird because Nathan showed you how it could spit back a slide to you in PowerPoint. But in any event, what this will do, what I'm showing here is I'm trying to show projects and how projects, no matter what you're working on, when you constrain the context, you get a more accurate outcome. And so in this case, I've constrained the context. It has chapters 12 and 13 scanned, and it's only going to give me a quiz based on chapters 12 and 13. So projects, lots of different use cases. Anything you work on that's a project-oriented thing in your organization probably can leverage projects. Okay, last but not least, I want to show.
Super quick question. Somebody in the chat says they have the same class as your son and are wondering if they can get this download.
Send me an email, tholsey@snaptechit.com, and I will be more than happy to supply you with some practice exams. More than happy to do it. Let's see here. So the last thing I want to show is I want to show Excel, Claude in Excel. And I'm a little nervous about how much time we have, but I'm going to fire up all the examples. So let me first make a comment. Nathan and I, for 18 months, have produced a ton of content around Copilot. We've done in-person workshops, we've done webinars, and one of the most frustrating things in educating our clients and prospects and business leaders that we talk to about the Microsoft 365 platform is Copilot historically has not been that cool and has not worked that well inside Excel. It's been really hard to get it to actually do interesting things, and it's been super frustrating. And we try, and every time there's a new release, we go in and try other things. Day to day in my work as an executive at SnapTech, I have a ton of like data intensive things I need to do, and it often lets me down. And Claude is really catching up in a lot of ways, and Claude for Excel is actually pretty darn powerful. And what I'm going to just do is kind of bootstrap a couple of these examples, and then I'm not going to. It takes a couple minutes for them to run, so I'm going to fire off a couple of the examples, and then I'm just going to show you the output because I've already run it, kind of like Nathan did it before. But let me give you an example. So I've got to move things around here so I can see. I'm going to put this over here and this down here. Okay, great. So okay, what you're looking at here is you're looking at Outlook or Excel for the web. So I'm working with Excel on the web, and you see up here it says open Claude, and so Claude is running over here on the right hand side. So Claude is running as kind of a plugin for Excel. And I'm going to go grab my prompt. And one of the things that I'm a member of a nonprofit, and I have to do a lot of like the bookkeeping and the financial stuff. And we're pretty rudimentary because we're 100% volunteers in this organization. But one of the things is I have this log, and I'll just go ahead and open it in Excel and show you real quick. Downloads. Claude demo, and this is just a spreadsheet with like 2 or 3 years of invoices that have been like paid. Like our accounts payable process in this nonprofit is very rudimentary. Like we get sent the bills and they get put in a folder and we get it logged on a spreadsheet. And so you have all of these expenses and we pay from here. So you have this big spreadsheet, and we're not terribly good at budgeting because we're a small nonprofit. We of course pay all our bills and we have a bookkeeper and we do our taxes, but our budgeting skills are pretty rudimentary. And so what I'm going to do over in Excel is I'm going to say digest. I'm going to go and attach that raw. I'm going to attach that raw invoice log, which you saw was just kind of unstructured invoices to pay. And I'm going to say digest this row of expenses for the nonprofit I'm involved with, and look at the expenses over 2024 and 2025 and organize them into a 12-month budget based upon average expenses per month. And I'm going to fire that off. And it's going to start working on it. And this takes like 7 to 8 minutes. So I'm not going to show this on a live demo today. And then let me show you one other example. And just to kind of keep us moving here, is I'm going to fire off another one. So, all of us try to, manage our own personal finances and maybe invest in the stock market. And you might have a brokerage account, and you might, in your abundant free time, read equity analyst reports from your brokerage account. And so this is a Bank of America Securities report on Yelp. Okay, and so I've been looking at Yelp. I love Yelp as a customer. Their stock is struggling. They seem like they're undervalued. And in this, equity report, there's like the estimates for their 2026 and 2027 financials. And, it's nested here in a PDF file. And what I'm going to do with Claude is I'm just going to say, I'm going to fire this up, and I'm going to go over to here, create a blank workbook. And I'm going to invoke Claude, and fingers crossed that I don't get prompted to re-authenticate myself. And I'm now starting to panic because, let's see here. Why is this doing this? Gosh. Okay, come on. There we go. All right. Okay, there's Claude. I'm going to ask Claude, and I'm going to go in and paste my prompt. And I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to go grab that Bank of America Securities file. And I'm going to take the PDF. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to say, I'm an individual investor. I'm a value investor. I like to buy low and sell high. Digest this research analyst report from Bank of America on Yelp. I have a feeling Yelp is undervalued. Extract the forecasted financials from 2026 and 2027 and build it into Excel so I can do a sensitivity analysis on the forecast. I'm going to hit go, and it's going to start working. And just like Nathan was showing before, Claude shows its work, and it's going to say, hey, this looks like a PDF. I'm going to have to extract some things, but this would run for 6 or 7 minutes. And just in the interest of time here is I'm just going to go ahead and show you the results. So the first one, we're going to go back, is the first thing we talked about was the expenses. And so what Claude was able to do is take this raw invoice log, and it was able to create, let's see here. Bear with me here. There we go. Let me pull this over. This is what Claude created. It created a hypothetical or like forecasted monthly budget based upon our average monthly expense for cleaning services and property maintenance and everything else. It created some nice graphs, visual representations of this data, all from a raw list of paid invoices over a 2-year period. This is great.
Yeah, it's
this
awesome.
is I mean, that's like super awesome. And then let me show you real quick, and then we're going to wrap here, and we're going to go and close this out for today. I'm going to show you the Yelp Financials 2 exercise, and you'll see that it's over here. It's whirring away. It's working on it. It looks like it's making faster progress on digesting the B of A report. But let me just show this. So this is the Yelp B of A Research Digest, and what it's done is it's extracted all of the financial modeling that the B of A analyst put into the equity research report and put it into an Excel. And this is not just like a copy paste dump in here. It's actual like calculations of I've got to find the right fields where it's showing calculations, but basically it's created this spreadsheet which now I could rapidly use to go in and do some testing on the modeling. And the crazy thing is it's actually built like a sensitivity analysis like tool down here that I could use to like model the different potential outcomes for the stock price. And then here's some like additional bonus tips for value investor notes, of cool things about Yelp, 0 long-term debt, consistent free cash flow generation, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, in just a couple minutes, Claude is able to, in Excel, do some really interesting things. And so we're pretty much out of time. I'm noticing that we're 2 minutes over. Nathan, I don't think we have time for any final questions. Our hope is that today was eye-opening for you and that you saw some interesting things about the way Claude can be used in your business. It's a very powerful tool. I think we showed some real live use cases that can be relevant for businesses of all sizes. If you want to talk to a company like SnapTech, like us, to talk about your AI journey or your cybersecurity journey, you can use the QR code on the left. If you're interested in joining us for one of our future webinars, you can use the QR code on the right. Next month, we're going to be talking about how to build agents and GPTs inside Copilot and ChatGPT. And with that, we'll kind of wrap. Nathan, thanks for joining me for today.
Yeah, glad to be here. It was exciting to take a look at Claude with you, and I think that we're walking away with some brand new skills that can really be put to use day to day.
Great. Nathan, thanks for joining. Thanks everybody for joining in. Thanks for your questions. We covered a lot of material. Sorry we didn't have more time for Q&A, but we will see you on a future SnapTech IT webinar. Take care now.
Bye.